Guys and gals, Jason here from Ridgeline Overlanding. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm going to present a little bit more of a controversial video today. Our title is the Honda Ridgeline a real truck? Now, most of the haters out there will answer that immediately with a resounding no, but I think we should actually look at what a real truck is, because the definition of a truck is pretty wide. Now, when most of us say trucks, we mean pickup truck. And the definition of a pickup truck is it has a cab and it has a box. Further to that, the box has 3 sides, no roof, and it may or may not have a tailgate. Pretty simple. So we're going to walk through a number of factors, a number of different things that a truck is expected to do, and figure out, hey, can the Ridgeline do these things reasonably well? And if it can't, then we're going to give it a big thumbs down. And we are going to crap on a couple of the Ridgelines at the end of the video, let's be honest. I drive a 2021 Sport. I've kitted it out to be a bit of an overlanding edition. If you're familiar with the channel, you've seen this thing going up and down mountains into wherever fancy places I can take it. So if you haven't seen those, go check out those videos, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, first thing I want to talk about is hauling. Because the 2 main functions of a truck are hauling and towing. But towing isn't limited to a pickup truck. So when it comes to hauling, the Ridgeline is actually quite competitive. It's got good payload, like 1,550 pounds, which is better than a Tacoma. I mean, most of the Tacomas 2023 and prior have all of 1,285 pounds of payload. The Gladiators, unless they're equipped with max tow package, they've only got 1,175 pounds of payload. Now you jump into full size, a Ram 1500, which would be a comfy truck like a Ridgeline. It only has 1,240 to 1,880 pounds of payload as well. And to get that 1,880, you need a base model truck, because all of those fancy features and creature comforts, they count against your payload. That's just the way it goes. If you really want serious payload, 2,000–3,000 pounds, you need a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton truck. So if the Ridgeline isn't a real truck, then neither is the Ram and neither is the F-150, and certainly not the Tacoma or the Gladiator when it comes to hauling. Let's just face it, most of the trucks on the road are meant to haul about 1,500 pounds. Box size, that's another factor when it comes to hauling, because there's not only just your weight that you can haul, but how well does it carry it? The Ridgeline is quite unique. It has a 64-inch box. That's 4 inches longer than most of the trucks. And it's got 50 inches in between the wheel wells. That means you can lay down a 4x8 sheet of plywood flat. No other midsize truck can do that. There are a couple of trucks, I think the Colorado used to, I don't think it does anymore, and the Tacoma does offer a 6-foot box. That would be nice. Usually it means you get the smaller cab, or it means you get a truck that's quite a bit longer and harder to park. So you will see most trucks out there having the standard 5 to 5.5 foot box. I had an F-150 for 9.5 years. The box was 5'6". I've now got a 5'4" box. I gave up a whopping 2 inches. I don't miss those 2 inches. I gotta tell you. So one downside on the Ridgeline box is that it's shallow. It's like 16 inches, 17 inches. It's a good 2, 3, 4 inches shallower than most other trucks. That is because it has a trunk, and the trunk is really cool. And it also has in bed or below bed spare tire storage, which I don't use, but it's there and I've got it full of other gear. So yeah, you get a little bit less height. Does it matter? Not to me. Almost 3 years of ownership, and I don't care about the lost height. Now for those with a tonneau cover, you will miss those extra couple inches. You're not going to get a standard cooler back there, or even some of the standard kind of Home Depot and Costco type storage bins. If you're running a tonneau cover and you expect to be using your Ridgeline as a camping truck, you're going to be leaving your cover open a lot. It's just the way it is. Let's talk about towing, the other primary function in the classic definition of a truck. So the Ridgeline has a modest 5,000 pound tow rating with the all-wheel drive version. We won't even talk about the front-wheel drive version. That's not a real truck. I'm in a lot of Ridgeline groups on Facebook and online, and you know what? A lot of owners are towing 5,000 pounds without any problems. Now, you're going to find Toyotas and Chevys, especially the diesel models or a Gladiator, you can get up to 7,500 pounds of payload, but it's still a mid-sized truck. So I would say this, if you're regularly towing 5,000 pounds, you've got the wrong truck. Jump straight to a full size. I have towed 5,000 pounds plus with my 2011 F-150 with the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. That truck was a beast. I could still feel that 5,000 pound trailer behind me, and boy did it ever suck the fuel. One thing a lot of guys don't consider when it comes to payload or towing is that if you've got an off-road package on your truck, you're going to be giving up quite a bit of payload and towing capacity. You're going to get, fancier shocks with a lot more flex, a lot more travel. Well, that's going to make your back end squat a lot more. That's not great for towing. So if you think you're going to buy yourself an off-road rig, get yourself all kinds of flex, and then have it to be a badass tow rig on the weekends, no, sorry, you're not. It just doesn't work that way. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. So then what? You buy a Super Duty truck, put a 3-inch lift on it, it'll tow anything, go anywhere, but will it? You're going to get stuck in the bush. Jeeps can get a lot more places than Super Duty trucks. There is no right size. There's no one size fits all when it comes to trucks. That's why we have so many different categories of them, so many bed and box configurations, all that kind of stuff. So let's stop crapping on the Ridgeline when it does a lot of things quite well. Now, if I'm towing 5,000, I'm going to a half ton. If I'm towing 10,000, I'm going to a 3/4 ton. So now what? If towing and hauling are what defines a real truck, then the only real trucks out there are your 2,500 and 3,500s. Okay, then the Ridgeline's not a real truck. Now it's funny, people will look at the Ridgeline's lack of off-road prowess and say, well, it's not a real truck because it can't crawl rocks. The fact is, trucks were never made as rock crawlers. You're not crawling rocks in a Super Duty. You're certainly not doing it in a 2-wheel drive extended cab long box Super Duty. I mean, the Ridgeline's going to take that truck's lunch money. You're either going to have an off-road specialty vehicle like a Jeep Wrangler, or a truck that mimics that as best it can, like a Gladiator or a Tacoma. Let's talk about comfort, because here is where the Ridgeline shines. Does comfort matter? I would say it does. I like to be comfortable in my truck. And if you are towing and hauling and you're going long distances, taking your boat to the lake or the cabin or whatever, I'll tell you this, there is no more comfortable pickup truck than a Ridgeline. Period. There's not even a close second. Now, if you go into full size, the Ram 1500 is pretty good. Like better than all the other pickups, excluding Ridgeline. But it does come at the expense of payload and towing. It just doesn't tow as well with the rear coil springs. That's why the other manufacturers haven't gone that way. Ride quality and heavy dutiness do not go hand in hand. Funny, the other thing too, when it comes to comfort, people that want to either have their truck look cool or they legitimately go on the backcountry, they're going to kit it out with some aggressive all-terrain or mud terrain tires. And that will kill your ride quality and your comfort right quick. Now, there are some happy medium tires like the Falken Wild Peak AT3s or the Cooper Discoverer AT3s that are fantastic. They offer great off-road capability while still being really good on-road. So a couple of, I would actually say somewhat legitimate reasons why people will hate on the Ridgeline or say it's not a real truck. One is that it does not have a body-on-frame design. It is a unibody, and that's why it has a great ride. Well, that and Honda's really good at setting up suspension. So take how nice a Pilot or an MDX rides, and I'll tell you this, having driven them both, the Ridgeline drives even better. But it does not have that rugged body-on-frame. Is that a game changer or a deal breaker? No, I don't think it is. I mean, remember when every SUV, back your old school, your Broncos, your old Jeep Cherokees, like the big full-size Cherokees, they were all body-on-frame. The early Grand Cherokees, body-on-frame. Hard to find a body-on-frame SUV anymore. Times change. Heck, even Ford and Hyundai now have unibody pickup trucks. Let's not hang our hat too heavily on that one, all right? We get it. Body-on-frame is better for rugged truck stuff. Unibody's better for car-like stuff. What do you think? Last thing is for low. The Ridgeline is all-wheel drive. It's Honda's IVTM4 system, which is similar to Acura's super handling all-wheel drive. Slightly different tuning, a little bit more off-road prowess tuned into the IVTM4. The newer models, 2020 and newer, have the ZF9 transmission with a 20-to-1 crawl ratio. That's really good. It is by far the best crawl ratio of any all-wheel drive. But you know what? Compared to the Subarus, compared to the 2019 and older Ridgelines, this new ZF9 tranny in there will climb anything. I've seen videos where the ZF9 equipped Hondas are going up, I think it's Imogene Pass in Colorado, sailing up it. And the 6-speed older Hondas and the Subarus with their lousy CVT transmissions, they can't do it. They literally stall. Their foot is to the floor and they can't make it up the hill. So the point being that although it doesn't have four-wheel low, it has an ultra-low first gear. In fact, the truck starts in second gear because it's a little too herky-jerky in first gear. So we're not going to worry too much about that. If that's where you're going to hang your hat, then let's talk about maybe a Super Duty F350 long box dually two-wheel drive. It will out-tow and out-haul the four-wheel drive equivalent. So is that two-wheel drive not a real truck? Now put that two-wheel drive up in the Mount Cheam trailhead or going up to the Veteran Lookout, some of the spots I go with my Ridgeline, and my Ridgeline's going to have that two-wheel drive truck's lunch money. There is no gold standard. Anyway, hope you guys are kind of picking up a bit of what I'm putting down here. My point here is, like, let's quit hating on the Ridgeline. I did a bit of mocking of it. Let's be fair. The front-wheel drive Ridgeline, which is no longer available in Canada, thank goodness. Front-wheel drive Ridgeline is a joke. I can't imagine putting 1,500 pounds in the bed and then having no weight over your drive wheels. Epic fail. I don't know why Honda did that, but they opened the floodgates to mockery. It is what it is. The first generation Ridgelines, yeah, you know what? They were an acquired taste. I've seen a few that are pretty badass. If they're kitted out nicely, black truck, black package, blacked out wheels, overland gear, all that, they can look pretty cool. So for those of you guys that are open-minded, maybe you're like, hey, this shaved head dude actually makes some sense. You know, just find a way to get over the stigma of a Ridgeline. Hop into one. Go for a test drive. You will be amazed. It drives like a luxury SUV with the utility of a truck. It does a lot of things really well. Is it perfect? No. And I'll probably gripe on a few of its imperfections. And I did so actually in my 2.5-year review. But for what it cost, I mean, I paid $44,000 for my 2021. Man, you can't get nothing south of 60 these days, and with an off-road package, you know, $70,000, $80,000. It's crazy how trucks are so expensive now. So I feel like I stole that Ridgeline. If you need more towing and more hauling, skip the mid-size class altogether. Jump right into full size. Get yourself an F-150, one of those cool EcoBoost engines. They've got a lot of pep, and their fuel economy is better than it used to be. And if you're talking long-term ownership, high mileage, then get a Tundra. There's just no other way around it. You know, Tundra's going to do everything well. It's going to consume a little more fuel than a Chevy or a Ram, but it's going to offer you a lot more reliability. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. This has been a fun video to make. I look forward to your hate. I look forward to your love. And you know what? If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do so. Subscribe, share it. Send it to your buddies. Let them make fun of it too. I don't really care. I got a pretty thick skin. Thank you for hanging out with us. There will be more content to come, more off-road adventures, more truck talks. So until next time, and there will be a next time, go play outside.